Here are 7 perfect platinum trophies to kickstart your trophy hunting career with, or to add to your collection if you're an already established veteran or noob. Now, all of these games are great. However, if you've been subscribed for a while, you'll know exactly why the last one is the one I recommend most. Up first is a beautiful game that takes place in a world inspired by New Caledonia, Chia. It's a super cute indie game where you play as a girl named Chia who has to rescue her father who has been taken away from her. The trophies are super simple with only a 2 out of 10 difficulty and 20 hours to platinum. There's a few miscellaneous trophies, some combat related ones, few points to ascend, and of course a ton of treasures and collectibles to find. Yet those are made quite enjoyable to do as you can transform into the animals around you. For example, a bird, which would make the islands and world beautiful to explore. And although the game looks as innocent as can be, it low-key surprised me with a few surprisingly dark moments you come across throughout the story and whilst exploring this tropical archipelago. However, if you'd rather help out Mr. Gru and the minions instead, then you should try Deliver Us the Moon. This is a simple game of a story set in outer space with the objective to save humanity. There's a lot of exploring and a bit of puzzle solving when trying to make your way through the low gravity lunar facilities. Thankfully, there are no missables due to there being a chapter select feature and just the regular good old collectibles to find as well. There are a couple of miscellaneous trophies that require your attention when attempting them, but nothing that is particularly difficult by any means. Therefore, this game is only a 2 out of 10 difficulty and will take you around 8 hours to platinum. It was a super easy platinum for me that finally also proved that the moon landing was fake. But maybe helping out the minions isn't up to your liking and you'd rather help out a different yellow blob instead. Well, then you can go and help SpongeBob in the Battle for Bikini Bottom. This is a remake of a classic game from 2003. It's easy, fun, simple, it's SpongeBob. I mean, do I really have to tell you about SpongeBob? All there is to this fantastic and joyful game is to play through the short and sweet story and then 100% the game by finding all of the spatulas and socks whilst fighting your way through a couple of enemies. It's a really simple 10 to 15 hour platinum and appropriate for all ages, as everyone, both young and old, have grown up with this yellow sponge. And if you've already played this or are looking for more SpongeBob, then the Cosmic Shake and Patrick Star game are both just more of the same of our friends in Bikini Bottom. But not everyone is into these cartoony children's games, because let's face it, that's what they are. I personally always loved them, but I also loved the 2015 Need for Speed, which is another great easy beginner platinum. Racing games are always a ton of fun, whether you're into cars or not, because driving fast, sexy cars through the neon night streets is very addicting. For this plat, all you need to do is play through the story, purchase a few cars and upgrade them, do some tricks in them, and then reach level 50. The racing is very fast and kind of arcade-like, but incredibly fun and addicting to master. And this game has also been compared to the original classic Need for Speed Underground, making this both one of the easiest and best Need for Speed platinums to date. Now, I'm not a car guy myself, but I really enjoyed speeding through the streets in my Lamborghini. And if you want more of it, there's also DLC trophies up for grabs, although they are slightly more difficult. Next up is another great game called Cat Quest. This trilogy of cat games are super simple to platinum. You play through a world full of cat hunts with some adventure, combat, and exploring to do. All 3 of the games are pretty much the same trophy-wise, but I'd recommend starting at the first because of the story, and also because it's just weird to start anywhere else other than the first, you weirdo. To get the platinum, you need to beat the story, go through all of the dungeons, and defeat all the enemies. You'll be looting the chests at the end of these anyway, so you'll be getting the cosmetic collectibles that way too, whilst also simultaneously leveling up for the level 99 trophy. It's just such a cute game that you can pull platinum in around 12 hours with only a 3 out of 10 difficulty. But up next is a game that is for people that aren't looking for a cute and fuzzy game, but rather something a little more metal. So for those people, we have Metal Hellsinger, which is a rhythm shooter featuring many epic tracks of some of the best metal names out there. The gameplay is to shoot, slash, and destroy enemies on the beat to the metal music, which, if pulled off correctly, is very satisfying. For the trophies though, it should be noted that if played as intended, the game's quite a bit more difficult. However, there's an accessibility feature that makes the game a lot more forgiving should you choose. So I don't know if it's cheating, but that's up for you to decide, because if you do use those, this game is only a 3 out of 10 difficulty and can be platinum in about 5 to 10 hours. It's a great game regardless to headbang on your journey to the platinum trophy. But before we talk about the one game that I think everyone should play as one of their first platinum trophies, and I recommend dearly, you should hit the like and subscribe button before we go over a few other games that are also great beginner platinum trophies, such as Biomutant. Yeah, sure, it may not be the best game to ever have been created, but it's an easy and short game nonetheless. The story is very mid, and the combat is extremely basic but still holds up well enough. However, exploring this toxic waste planet with some interesting looking creatures is still pretty fun, and with the platinum only taking 20 to 30 hours with a 3 out of 10 difficulty, this isn't a hard platinum. Do keep in mind of some of the missable trophies, but as long as you're aware of them, they shouldn't cause you any issues. But Unpacking is a game that doesn't have any of that. Simply complete the 1 out of 10 4-hour relaxing story of sorting stuff around your apartments, living through your childhood up until the adult stuff takes over, sorting your books, socks, games, kitchen appliances, and all the other hoarding junk you keep around. It's a great game for all the people with OCD, and whilst you're at it, you might as well clean your own room, you filthy animal. But Unpacking is still one of my favorite platinums to date because of its simple and cozy gameplay. Just be aware of what this game is before playing it, because if you're looking for some action or adventure, this isn't the game for you. But then you might be more interested in our favorite boy of Sackboy: A Big Adventure. Another great platformer that is just pure family friendly fun. You can play this solo or with a friend, both in couch or online co-op, which is a great thing as there are a few levels that require a second player, but also a good way to boost yourself the Rip Snorter trophy, which requires you to complete a 10-minute obstacle time trial, and although a challenge, can be achieved with a lot of patience and practice. Therefore, it does take quite a bit longer than the others with a 30-hour time to platinum and a whopping 5 out of 10 difficulty. But that's mostly because of that one singular trophy, so don't let that scare you away because it really isn't that hard. And if you can't beat it, well, then maybe that's a serious skill issue on your part and you might as well retire. But the game that I will always recommend to any new or starting trophy hunter or anyone that's looking for a great simple platinum is of course Astrobot. A worthy sequel to Astro's Playroom, also known as the free version, this bigger and better game of the year is the Purrfect Platinum. It's a glorified PS5 ad, but it shows off PlayStation's history, the console, and DualSense controller in a way that no other game can. There's no difficulty related trophy, so it's for all ages, no missables, meaning no eyes glued to a guide, nothing overly challenging that requires hours of practice, except the speedrun levels, that might be a pain. But even the collectibles in this game are a joy to find, because most of them are a fun nod to another franchise or game. It makes finding collectibles fun and doesn't feel like a chore to find all of them. You could probably do most of it without a guide like me, because the collectibles can be found using an in-game tool or the PlayStation Plus game help if you ever get stuck. There really isn't a single thing I dislike about it, and the colorful and rich levels are a blast to play through, which is why the platinum is only a 3 out of 10 difficulty and will take you just around 15 hours to platinum. And if you want more of it, there's now also a few DLC trophies that have dropped if you want that beautiful 100% for an extra challenge. It is the perfect platinum. I love it so much, and if you want to know about some other great beginner platinum trophies, then check out this video. That's it. See you.